Thank you, Babu.
Take host back.
Yeah, I've already taken it.
Okay, choose back.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Radha Krishna Gopala Sam Kanda Radha Kunda Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glories to the all glories to the Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. You're welcome, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Guru Maharaj, please, you can start, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Te Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pachacha Desatarine. One, 10, 2, new chapter, huh?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Oops. Chapter 10, verse 2. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavat yuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Sutta uvacha.
Sutta Uvacha.
Vamsam
Vamsam
Uro
Gurur
Vamsa Devagni Niritam
Vamsa Davagni Niritam
Samrohaitva
Samroayitva
Bhava Bhavano
Bhavano Bhava Bhavano
Niritam
Hari
Niritam
Niritam.
Samrohaitva Hari
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Niveshaitva
Niveshayitva
Nijaraja
Raja
Ishvaro
Ishvaro
Yudhishtiram
Yudhishtiram
Pritamana
Vitamanam
Babhuvaha.
Babuva.
Sutta Goswami said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after establishing Maharaj Yudhisthira in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. Purport. The world is compared to a forest fire caused by the friction of bamboo bushes. Such a forest fire takes place automatically, for bamboo friction occurs without external cause. Similarly, in the material world, the wrath of those who want to lord it over material nature interacts, and the fire of war takes place, exhausting the unwanted population. Such fires or wars take place in human society by the dealings among the population, and the Lord has nothing to do with them. But because he wants to maintain the creation, he desires the mass of people to follow the right path of self-realization, which enables the living beings to enter into the kingdom of God. The Lord wants the suffering human beings to come back home, back to Godhead, and cease to suffer the threefold material pangs. The whole plan of creation is made in that way. And one who does not come to his senses and go back to Godhead suffers in the material world and the pangs inflicted by the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord therefore wants his bona fide representative to rule the world. Lord Sri Krishna descended to establish this sort of regime and to kill the unwanted persons who have nothing to do with his plan. The Battle of Kurukshetra was fought according to the plan of the Lord so that undesirable persons could get out of the world and a peaceful kingdom under his devotee could be established. The Lord was therefore fully satisfied when King Yudhishthira was on the throne and the seedling of the dynasty of Kuru in the personality of Maharaj Parikshit was saved. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksura Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam. Okay. We have a similar verse by Queen Kunti, if you remember. All right. From chapter 8. And she said that the dissensions among human beings are caused by the interaction between human beings. So this is fact. It's not that Krishna makes the wars, not that religion, people just rub against each other. Some people are angry, they want to be controllers, and they can't cope with it. So we are hopefully, a spiritual society, we can rise above this. And even though we have to interact and sometimes we rub against each other and we step on each other's toes, we don't agree, but we get along anyway, miraculously. So Kunti says, this is verse 28 from chapter 8, Manye Tvam Kalamishwaram Anadi Nidanam Vibhum Samam Charantam Sarvatra Bhutanam Yan Mita Kali. My Lord, I consider your lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. So I think we've all experienced that. Trying to live in an ashram, trying to work together, or having a job, working outside. Just read the news. People come together and something happens. When I was in Bombay one time, I saw the same movie poster. I was seeing it everywhere we went. And the movie was called Kuch Kuch Hote Hai. Maybe Nigerians are familiar with that. So I asked the devotees, what does that mean, Kuch Kuch Hote Hai? He said, it means something happens. So in the case of that movie, it was the boy meets girl and then something happens. Preacher probably said, when you put your hand in the bead bag, something happens. So when we put people together, Prabhupada did an incredible, amazing thing to put so many different kinds of people together. Even when he was just an American, almost everybody was born in America and, people would assume we're all the same. There were so many conflicts between different devotees, between men and women. But still, he gave us this mission and he gave us the Maha Mantra and the daily practice. So if we are focusing on that, keeping Krishna in the center of the relationships and understanding, how the modes of nature work. And when the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance is starting to influence us too much, we know better and we pull away. We don't let it control us. We chant the holy name and we try to get everybody else to chant the holy name. The world is always a crazy place. It's a material world, birth, death, disease, and old age, and it's Kali Yuga, the age of conflict. And we have to know that. And why these things go on, why, there's trouble, why there's divorce, why there's wars, why there's political conflict. Supposedly, we don't know what's really going on with the politics. But you just put people together, they fight. Even the politicians of the same party, they meet, they argue about everything. Somebody wants to be the controller. So in this purport of Queen Kunti, there it says, eternal time is the witness of all our actions, good and bad. Resultant reactions are destined by him. That means Krishna not, directing exactly what's happening to you, but it's directed by him because he made the laws of nature and they act. Can't avoid it. So it's no use saying we don't know why and what we are suffering. We may forget the misdeed for which we may suffer at the present moment, but we must remember the Paramatma is our constant companion. Therefore, he knows everything, past, present, and future. And because the Paramatma feature of the Lord destines all actions and reactions, he is the supreme controller also. Without his sanction, not a blade of grass will move. The living beings are given as much freedom as they deserve, and misuse of that freedom is the cause of suffering. So we have to be careful because everybody wants freedom. A few weeks ago, we went to the festival of the Indian Independence Day. So they got independent of the control of the British government, but they kept all the British things. And people still have to suffer birth, death, disease, and old age. Still have to pay taxes. They still have to be in anxiety about this and that. There's still poverty. There's still too rich people. There's still poor people. So devotees don't misuse their freedom. We use the freedom. Chant the holy name. Worship the Lord. Get out and spread the holy name. Give the books. Do something to help the world. People are suffering because of ignorance. Just like if you put a lot of people in a dark room, anybody that moves is very likely to bump into somebody. Now, if somebody gets mad and says, "You're stupid, why didn't you see me?" You know, no. So that, if we're all in darkness, we would be afraid to move. But we're all in darkness. And every time we move, we're disturbing somebody or something. If it's an insect or a germ or just ourself or our family, whatever we do, somebody might get disturbed. Devotees, we try, but if we preach, some people won't like it. But if, like even Jesus said, if people are against you in my name, he said, that's no problem. If they're against you because you're doing nonsense, that's different. So if people are against us just because we're chanting the holy name, just because we shave our head, and just because we don't eat meat and drink and do all the stuff they do, that's good. We should be happy. If they're against us because we insult people and argue with them and criticize our religion and we don't clean up our messes, and then we deserve trouble. And we have to pay the price. So when we misuse the freedom, it says we're put into miseries destined by the eternal time, kala. It gives happiness and distress, depending on how you use it. No one's an enemy or a friend of Krishna. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshtistina priya. I don't envy anyone and I'm not envious of anyone. I don't have any enemies. Everyone wants to lord it over the material nature, and everyone creates his own destiny. And then we have trouble. So we hear this all the time in the Bhagavatam, how forest fire can start. And I probably in the African jungle, and I know the early American Indians, they all had some kind of wood that they would rub together really fast in different ways, and that would create a little sparks, and they'd have some kindling there and get a fire started. So we know that. So if it's windy and the trees are banging against each other, then it could start a fire. No one went to set the fire. Nowadays, like America's having these gigantic forest fires, Greece is having forest fires. Many of them, they're set by people. There's crazy, careless people, campers, cooking or throw their cigarette in the ground in a dry forest, some on purpose. I heard in Greece, they had really big forest fires, and many were set on purpose because people want to develop the land, they want to build housing developments and condos and apartments, but they can't do it if there's a forest. You can't cut down the forest, but if the forest burns down, then they can use the land for something else. So people are actually starting fires. It's just so hellish. But they don't even have to. We put people together, even in a brightly lit room, even in a countryside, and fire, you can read the newspaper every day, fights are breaking out. I remember when I was in Fiji, then, wherever houses we stayed in, they'd always get a newspaper. And every day there was an article that some two guys got in a fight and one of them killed the other one or cut off his arm or something, because they were all sugarcane farmers. So they always carried these big machetes. They just get drunk and they just start fighting over, some little thing somebody says, and they just don't like the way you look, or, something you did 100 million years ago. So we have to be very careful to keep busy chanting the holy name and distributing, thinking, making plans. How can we distribute the holy name of the Lord? This is our business. Not just chanting. That's nice. But our movement is Lord Chaitanya's movement, where we want to be thinking, how can I spread this? How can I get as many people in the whole world chanting the holy name? We have this COVID thing, and Jayapataka Maharaj has said every meeting we have, every day practically, we've got to get everybody chanting the holy name. This is the only cure. There's going to be birth, death, and old age and disease, but we have to take advantage. This is more and more reason to chant the holy name, more and more reason to surrender to the Supreme Lord and live properly. So we have this information coming again and again. Everybody, it says, those who want to lord it over the material nature interact. And then there's wars, big wars, small wars. I was talking to one boy yesterday, he said the 20th century was a deadliest, so many people were killed in wars. The most, of course, they don't always have records from the past. You don't have the record, they don't believe the Kurukshetra War, the Sri Lanka War, but, in our modern history, 2 major world wars, then I guess, the Korean War was pretty big, Vietnam War, but there's so many other wars, they don't make as much noise, news if America's not involved. Africa, there's wars all over the place all the time. Many people are killed, even though they don't have atom bombs and stuff. They can kill by so many other ways. That's because people only see the external. They only see the I, me, mine. I want this. They're only envious and someone else has what they want. They think they can solve the problem by killing the person, by going to war and forcibly taking their property. They're just creating more wars, creating more and more bad reactions, creating more and more suffering. So we want to rise above that. That's why we became devotees, and we can't be complacent, to thinking, even if we can't do anything, we need to be thinking, what can I do maybe in the future? Like Srila Prabhupada, he got that order more or less from his guru right away to preach to the English-speaking people. And he was thinking how to do it from that time on, even though he, somehow or other wasn't able to give full time to it. But finally, it all came together. And with a, we have a big start, a big head start. Even if we go to a so-called new part of the country or something, because we have the movement all over the world, we can tell people, tell anybody how to tune in on YouTube and see the temples, hear the kirtans, hear the classes, all this advantage we have. Prabhupada had nothing. He had a few books, which nobody had ever heard of, Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, people had heard of it, but he didn't have Bhagavad Gita to distribute. He only had this first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and only 200 sets. And no money, no friends, no contacts. Nobody wanted to help him in India. One man wanted to help him, but the government wouldn't let him send the money. At least that's what he said. That's probably true. India is still very difficult to send money out. It's very easy to send money in, so they get more money. When you send money out, legally, it's a very big, difficult problem. If I want to send money to someone in India, no problem. But if a company wants to export something, to get the money from overseas, like books, the more they get, the more the government gives them permission to buy new equipment and all these things. So this is a basic principle. Be careful. Prabhupada gave us the most difficult tapasya. The basic tapasya is following 4 regular principles, chanting 16 rounds. It's not so difficult. But to cooperate together, that's difficult. Even if we're all from the same tribe, we're all speaking the same language, still we're not all the same. There's no way we're going to everybody agree on everything. But we have to agree on a basic principle that we have a structure And we go by the majority and we cooperate, with decisions made by those who are in authority instead of just leaving, which sometimes we do, or just ignoring or complaining. I don't like this. I'm not going to do it. I'll get my group of people together that refuse to cooperate. This is all the tricks of Maya to stop us from progress. And it works in all across the board. It works on sports teams. It works on businesses. It works on, any kind of group of people trying to do something. And since we're trying to do the biggest thing, to fight Maya, Maya works overtime to try to, trick us, try to get us to not cooperate, thinking I'm being very intelligent to not cooperate. I'm going to make everything better. It doesn't work that way. So we're requesting devotees, please cooperate. Keep the holy name in the forefront. We worship the Supreme Lord because we're beginners. We recognize, Krishna and God. Then we serve those who are more advanced at serving God. We try to, be respectful and serve them. And then we find people that are more or less the same as us, and we work with them. We dance with them. We take prasad. We chant, read the book, talk about, our life, make friends. And it's all very nice. And we avoid the demons. People that are just atheistic, demoniac people, we avoid them. We don't want to, get involved with them, fight with them, and that's what they want. We don't want that. Now, there's a very interesting letter Prabhupada wrote in 1973. I'm just going to read part of it. It's something we should all keep in mind very, very much. Material nature means dissension and disagreement, especially in this Kali Yuga. But for this Krishna conscious movement, its success will depend on agreement, even though there are varieties of engagements. In the material world, there are varieties, but there's no agreement. In the spiritual world, there are varieties, but there is agreement that we're supposed to be, trying to be in the spiritual world. So this is one of the things we can think about. That is a difference. The materialistic, without being able to adjust to varieties and disagreements, makes everything zero. They cannot come into agreement with varieties. But if we keep Krishna in the center, there will be agreement in varieties. This is called unity in diversity. It's a very important word. India has it as a motto for their country, although I don't know how much it's applied. Indonesia has it as a motto for their country, but we find that everybody's fighting. Muslims are fighting amongst themselves, Christians are fighting amongst themselves, they're fighting each other. The Hindus are fighting amongst themselves and fighting against the Christians, and on and on and on. We want to, variety is the mother of enjoyment. So we should relish the different types of people, the different kinds of opinions and ideas, so that we can discuss them and take out the best of everything and move ahead. So Prabhupada writes on, I am therefore suggesting that all our men meet in Mayapur every year during the birth anniversary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With all GVC and senior men present, we should discuss how to make unity in diversity. But if we fight on account of diversity, that is simply the material platform. Please try to maintain the philosophy of unity and diversity. That will make our movement successful. One section of men have already gone out. Therefore, we must be very careful to maintain unity and diversity. And remember the story of Aesop's fables of the father of many children with the bundle of sticks. When the father asked his children to break the bundle of sticks wrapped in a bag, none of them could do it. But when they removed the sticks from the bag and tried one by one, the sticks were easily broken. So this is the strength in unity. If we are bunched up, we can never be broken. But when divided, we can become broken very easily. I hope this meets you in the best of health. They have a saying in America, I don't know exactly where it came from, but it says, might be a military thing. It says, united we stand, divided we fall. You know, we have to all be together. We all love Krishna, so we love all the devotees, and we love everybody, but we want to help everybody to come to Krishna. This is our business. This is, you know, what we need. That's what we're looking for. So that is our movement, Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Okay, so let's, usually we get, last time we had so many questions. So.
Yes, good morning. So we request everyone who has question, please to raise your hand. Okay. Kusha Prabhu, please, you can mute yourself and ask Guru Maharaj question.
Hare Krishna, my all obeisances. My question is on the translation of today's verse, where Krishna said, Sutta Goswami said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira. My question is on this word, after re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira. So my question is, we as devotees, some have left, we have disagreement. How do we re-establish those who have left? How do we bring back those who have to re-establish them from this verse, the translation? Do we write them? Do we beg them? What do we do?
Depends on the person, you know. Some people leave out of enmity. I was just reading something which it said that, you know, if a person is very, very intimately and close to you, they can also become very much against you if you break up. So some people leave just because they're weak. So we want to help them. We want to make our own being around us very pleasant, you know, that we're just happily chanting the holy name. You know, not being angry at people for leaving. Prabhupada said, we should not be surprised when someone leaves, because this is the kingdom of Maya. We came here to get out of, get away from Krishna. We should be surprised when someone doesn't leave. So how to get them back is to be blissful devotees and have really nice festivals and welcome everybody. Some people, you can just go and talk to them and encourage them, invite them personally, spend time with them personally, find out, you know, what their problem was. That you see a lot of things on the line from the Christians, you know, they say, you know, some people reject Christ because they had a bad experience with Krishna with Christians or with religious people. Said Christ himself had very bad experience with religious people. They killed him, but he didn't reject God. He begged for forgiveness for the people who were making all the trouble. We have to work on ourselves, and that will attract people. If we want to help someone, we have to be healthy ourselves. So that's the main thing. And then, like I said, there's many different types of people out there that leave. They come, 4 kinds of people come, 3 kinds come and go a lot. If they're just coming for money because they're sick, because they're inquisitive, they get what they want and they leave, but then they might come back. Some people, different reasons. I mean, some people leave because they just say, I have to eat meat, can't live without it, So here's just now Prabhupada letter. I have noted your several complaints against the devotees, but it would be better for you to set the example by your personal behavior and try to reform others, not by criticism, but by your friendly behavior. So that's basically, I think, what I was trying to say. All right, does that help?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, we have who is iPhone Gifty. Please unmute yourself and ask Guru Maharaj question. iPhone Gifty.
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Grandpa, accept my humble obeisances this afternoon.
Thank you.
Please, my question is that why are we born in ignorance or by ignorance? And the second is, in Christianity, we have only Jesus Christ, that through Jesus, nobody can go to God. He's the only person that Christians know. In Hare Krishna, is it the same thing like that, or they have more people who are more holier than they always intercede on people who are not on the right path on behalf through Krishna or to Krishna?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a very big subject, but Jesus had many disciples. They went out and people, through them, they came to Jesus, you could say. But what did Jesus teach? He taught the love for God. And this is what Krishna is teaching, that Krishna is God, but Krishna is not, he's not limited. He has many, many teachers that come, but the teachings, only through those right teachings. So Jesus' teachings was, love of God. You have to give don't try to enjoy this material world. You want to go to the kingdom of God. Therefore, you have to love everyone. You have to serve everyone. And all the great acharyas and teachers, they're teaching that. So, Jesus, we teach also, if you have a guru, you get a guru, then you have to stick with it. You can't just do whatever you want, So it's not, Jesus says, I am the way, not necessarily him as a person, but what he was teaching. Because he said he's only teaching what God, the Father who sent him, is telling him to teach. It's not like he's just making something up. So we also have a succession of teachers coming from Krishna originally and then handed down. The teachings don't change. The basic teachings never change. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. So
Jesus, very good, but follow Jesus. It's not like, I don't know how much history but Paul, who was not, never knew Jesus, became the big preacher of Jesus, but he was not teaching what the others were teaching. He had a lot of disagreements with Peter and different ones, because he started this thing that you don't have to stop sinning. You can do whatever you want. Jesus saves you. You just say, Jesus, Jesus. And that's not what Jesus taught. I even saw a book one time, and it was a Muslim guy wrote. He said, do you want Jesus or do you want Paul? Who are you going to follow? So, you have to understand Jesus. And if you read the Bible carefully and read more than just a few verses that I am the way and the truth and the light, then you learn a lot. It's an amazing book. Ganachuk Juice knows a lot about it, and he can guide you and help you to understand it properly. Right, Gana? Are you there?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Okay, let me unmute him. Is yeah. Yeah, Gana Prabhu, please. Guru can speak. Guru Maharaj is talking to you.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance, Maharaj. I'll go to Yoga Prabhupada.
Yeah, you're always in the car, huh?
Yes, I'm almost always driving. I'm now going home. Since morning, I went out for some programs. We had a meeting in the temple. The National Council had a meeting today. And so after the meeting, I had to go to the office, and now I'm going back to the house.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. So we have Saade Prabhu's up. This was Saade, if you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. So glories to great devil, glories to you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Maharaj. I have a question from, that is one of your God brothers, Sri Prabhupada's disciples in my community here, Gita Nagri. And he posted something on our WhatsApp page that he's observed that lots of devotees are not strictly following Chaturmasya, and that Sri Prabhupada asked all of us to observe Chaturmasya as much as we observe Ekadashi. So he gave a quote, CC 4:169 in the purport. Sri Prabhupada said, in the month of Shravana, one should not eat spinach. And then he moved on to saying that one should not eat fish or other non-vegetarian food during the month of Kartik. A non-vegetarian diet means fish and meat. Similarly, Masura dal and oral dal are also considered non-vegetarian. These two dals contain a great amount of protein, and food rich in protein is considered non-vegetarian. So does that mean that we abstain from these two dals only in Chaturmasya or throughout our lives? Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Have you ever eaten either one of those dolls?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's not a big issue, you know. Although
I think I've come across oral dal, but I don't think I ever ate oral dal. I don't even know the Masura dal, but I know oral dal.
her dal, when I first joined, we used to have that regularly. I think Prabhupada recommended it. To eat too much of it, and so that's just for that one, not Chaturmasya, it's just for Kartik.
For Kartik.
That. So I tell devotees in other countries that never had any kind of dal practically in their life, if you want to do tapasya for Kartik, then you should know tofu or something. That would be a tapasya. No, dal is nothing. You never eat it anyway. You don't even know what it is. Right?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. No tofu, that would be a tapasya. That would be something for the African, for the Chinese, especially, and the Japanese and the Thailand. You know, they like those things.
Yeah.
But, you know, anything like that that's too much protein and it agitates the more lower desires and more gross desires of the body. So we don't want to eat too much of it ever.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. We have Anis Mesa. So for those who are going to be asking Guru Maharaj question, please you can address him as Maharaj. If you don't know how to address, you can just say Maharaj, then you can ask your question. Please. Yeah, Anis, please, Madam, you can answer.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance.
Welcome, Alice.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your teachings. Very amazing. Maharaj, please permit me to ask 3 questions.
Okay.
My first question was from what Prabhu Sahadeva, from his question. I want to know what Chaturmasya is. I don't know the word.
Chaturmasya, yes, you got it right.
I don't know the word, Maharaj. Thank you. And my second question is, Maharaj, is suffering going to stop in the world by any chance? And my third and final question, Maharaj, I'm trying to be a vegetarian, Maharaj. Can I eat any vegetable to start with? Thank you.
Of course.
Nah.
You can eat any vegetable, right? We don't want to eat meat, fish, and eggs. Onions and garlic for devotees, or for anybody that's trying to be spiritual, are not recommended, that's for sure. Even I heard that the bishop, I know the archbishop or whatever of the Nigeria told all the priests to stop eating garlic. You ever hear that? Huh?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Because the people that went to confessions were complaining that the priest is stinking so bad, you know, from eating so much garlic. So, but Ganyan, they degrade the mind, they make you more lusty, and of course they prevent you from being able to taste any other food also. So, but otherwise any vegetable for the most part is fine, as long as it's not poisonous.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And about suffering, there's a saying that pain is inevitable, but suffering is your choice. Suffering is a state of mind. You understand? Like, two people will have the same situation, and one will cry and say, I'm suffering and this is so bad, and why? Another one will just say, okay, this is life and I'm not this body and it's going to be temporary anyway. And how to, alleviate it, how to move away from it. Don't complain. So the suffering is a state of mind. But the pain, trouble, birth, death, disease, and old age, that's always in the material world, always be there. Of course, it can be reduced by living properly, but it's always going to be there. In the spiritual world, no. But there's something like suffering, but it's separation from Krishna. When people feel like, where is Krishna? I'm looking for Krishna, I can't find him. So they may, that looks like suffering, but actually it's intense pleasure.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, she also asked about Chaturmasya.
She did. What did she ask?
So what is Chatomasya?
Well, it's 4 months of the year. Traditionally, it's the rainy season in India. It rains a lot. So in the old days, the sannyasis who normally travel around, and they're going by walking, it's very difficult to travel because there's floods and, they didn't have bridges, and so they don't travel. They'll stay somewhere and then focus on just their internal spiritual life. So they'll perform extra austerities of fasting and different things for that time and just concentrate on their meditation and their prayer and all that. Nowadays, the time is still there and people still try to take advantage of it as much as they can. But the main thing is to pray more and try to chant more. Not that we have to do some kind of fasting really heavy and all these kind of things. That's not the whole point. In the Vedic literature, there's all kinds of things. If you don't take salt, you'll get a beautiful voice. And if you don't take sugar, this will happen. And if you do this and do that. But those are all material things of people looking for material benefits. Devotees are just trying to, okay, we'll try to chant more during this time. And especially the 4th month, Kartik, is a special spiritual month. But it's also intended, something like in the Catholic Church, they have Lent, that 1 month where you give up something you really like, right? Do Catholics still do that? Anybody? Any Roman?
Except I unmute them, but now everybody is muted, Gumar.
Yeah. So anyway, they give up something. Usually it's not a big deal, but probably nowadays they don't push it very much. When I was in school and the school served lunch, for those who wanted to pay for it. But on Friday, they wouldn't serve any meat because the Catholic people didn't eat meat on Friday. But now they don't, now they do. Times change. So, but the Kartik month is special. So people try to go to Vrindavan or they try to, but the main thing is to pray more, chant the holy name more, to talk about Krishna more. Just, that's the whole purpose of fasting or eating less or anything, is so they have more time for prayer, more time for spiritual life. All right.
Yes, Gumar. So we have more answers up, Gumar. Mr. Abraham, please unmute yourself and ask Maharaj question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Accept my humble obeisance. My question is, in terms of brother unity, if you are in a group and there's a laid down procedure and some people are not following the rules and regulation, and that particular person or guy, should we take him from the group or we should allow him to be in the group until he decided to leave? That's my question.
I didn't quite hear everything.
Yes, Gumar, it was asking that you mentioned about unity in diversity. Like
Right.
if people come together, there's going to be fight. So it's now they're making reference to maybe their WhatsApp group, and somebody is not following the rules and regulations in that group. Should they remove the person, or you allow the person to live on his own, or what should do to make the group peaceful? Something like that. Did I get your question?
Well,
exactly. Thank you.
That's always an issue. If somebody's really just making trouble and criticizing everyone else, then we have to ask them to leave and find another group who's more in that mode. Or sometimes we just have to block them, right? Fortunately, these internet things, you can block people. Because there's some people, and there's some groups that are just dedicated to criticizing everybody, political parties or religious groups or, within the Christian church, within our group church. There's people calling themselves Hare Krishnas and criticize all the devotees. So we have to avoid them. It's not healthy to be around people like that. It's like a disease. Now there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
One is from God's Spirit.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Reincarnation and karma. I want to know who bears the goodness or suffering. Is it the soul or the body? If it's the soul, why should this new body bear the suffering, which he or she is not the cause of? No, the desire that we have, we're souls and we have desires. That due to our different desires, we get whatever type of body we get. And the body will suffer and enjoy, and the mind will go, will suffer and enjoy until we realize, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, and this suffering is external. So we hear about yogis or Jesus, he didn't exhibit any kind of pain or suffering when he was being tortured. He was beyond all that. So it's the soul, we're falling in this material world and we have different desires. So we get different kinds of bodies and we suffer and enjoy along the way, depending on what we do, how we act. There's always going to be a reaction. Can't do anything to stop the reactions except to change our activities. Okay?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So the body suffers, but if we don't identify with the body, then we don't really suffer that much. We just live with it. Mind also suffers, and mental disease is a very big issue in this day and age. And people are suffering like anything, loneliness and, anger, especially. So we have lusty and greedy and angry, we're going to suffer because we create suffering for others. We can create suffering for ourselves. Okay. Then another
Yes, Guru
one,
Maharaj.
same person. Does God's, is that God's spirit there on the screen?
Yeah, no, that is Prema Samputa.
Oh, Prema Samputa.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
And recognizing. Yeah, where are you?
Prema Samputa, where are you?
I'm in Croatia.
Still in Croatia, good place. I was thinking of going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't require vaccinations and quarantines and
That. Yeah.
smart country. Okay, so
What's your question now?
yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Maharaj.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
answering questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Does the soul have control on how we live our lives? Yes. By our desires, we get put into different situations, and then we have to, that's why we want to study scripture and we want to take guidance how we should act so we can reduce the trouble. Obey the law. Like, if you want to avoid the police bothering you, then obey the law, right? And if we want to avoid suffering too much in the material world, we have to obey the laws of karma and live according, what's not going to make so much trouble for us. Another one, SBM. Is chanting the same as meditating on the Maha Mantra? Yes. And can one elevate just by chanting? Yes. But extra things, if we're chanting, but we're eating meat and drinking and criticizing devotees, then our elevation will be very, very slow. It may even stop. So we need to, set aside a few other things so that we're chanting. Okay, Prema has a question. And
yes, Guru Maharaj, he asked a question. His house was up before. Please ask your question, Prema Samputa Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the lecture. In your course of this lecture, you did talk about, how devotees we should be very sympathetic with devotees who have left the movement based on some weakness or some, being not fairly treated. And I can see that this thing has caused a lot of hurt to so many devotees. Some are very strong, who are steady in the mind. Some of us are very weak.
So, yes, so what's the question?
It's coming, Guru Maharaj.
There's a lot more hands up.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes, we are sorry, there was some technical issue. Dr. Omega, please can unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah. Arusha, please accept my humble obeisances. Oh, network is not so strong here, so I can't display my videos, please.
Please go ahead with your question.
Maharaj, I would like to read from the purport, then based on that, and ask my question. It said, in the material world, the wrath of those who want to Lord interact, and the fire of war takes place, exalting the unwanted populations. Such fires of war takes place, and the Lord has nothing to do with them. Okay, Maharaj, here is my question. You know that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanction of the Lord. So how can such wars take place without the sanction of the Lord? So I would like you to throw a little bit light on this part for me, Hare Krishna.
Can you make it a little more clear or break it up?
Okay, but what I mean is, purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that wars in the material world, whereby we try to lord it over material nature, in terms of war, Krishna does not have anything to do with such wars. And I know also that even a blade of grass cannot move without the sanctioning of the Lord. So I would like you to throw a little bit light on this purport, especially why I'm taking the note from, so that I'll be able to understand it clearer. That's my question. Please, I hope you understand me now.
Yeah, so
okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
There's confusion about destiny, predestination, and that. I remember when we had to study something in Sunday school when I was in junior high school time or something. So they were telling us the different philosophical differences between different denominations. So some believe in predestination, but we make our own destiny. It's not like God just writes it all out for you and your life is just completely under his control, like you're some kind of a puppet or a robot or something. But he has made the material world and the laws of nature, and they act. That's the will of the Lord. But we put ourselves into situations where we have to, get the results of different activities that we do. Same like in the material world. There's laws of the state, laws of the city. So if we disobey the law, we have to, we'll have to find some way to suffer one way or another. If we follow everything nicely, you know, we won't get in so much trouble. So it's like that. Nothing can move without the will of the Lord. He controls everything. But it's not like it's because his laws are set up to work. And according to our activities, things happen. And we come here by his mercy because we don't want to serve. We don't want to stay in the spiritual world. So we come into the material world. And then we have all this freedom as human beings. And if we misuse that freedom, then we get trouble. Some people, it looks like, no, they're criminals, they're doing everything bad, but they're rich and popular, and getting elected and leaders of countries. But you don't know what kind of, maybe they did some nice things in the previous life, or maybe they did some tapasya like Hiranyakasipu, we don't know. But next life is going to be something, you know, they're not looking forward to. They're thinking it can go on forever, just loading it over and controlling. Okay?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, we have more hands up, Guru Maharaj.
All scriptures give us, you know, like standards, what you should do, what you shouldn't do.
Mr. Nana Botang, please, you can ask your question.
Yes. My humble greetings to you all. This is Nana speaking from Tampere, Finland. I'm asking this question because there was a teaching yesterday and I asked the teacher. Please, am I being heard?
We are hearing you now.
Yes, yes. I hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, good. He said something that I'm still not satisfied. So I was waiting for the right, I was waiting till you come and then I ask you. It goes like, when you are out and there was a robbery, stealing in your house. When you came back, the neighbors has caught him and they are trying to stone the thief to death, and you stop it. You told them to stop. They shouldn't stone the person to death. By doing that, have you done the right thing, or you should allow the sinner to be punished? If I'm clear, did you get my question clear?
Well, we shouldn't allow the mob of people to just kill someone over a robbery. We might want to have them arrested and, you know, dealt with legally to stop something crazy like that, because it'll just, all those people get implicated in killing someone, and there'll be more chaos.
Master, if you said you let it go, are you going to be punished for not allowing the robber or the thief to
No,
to
I
be
said
punished?
you should call the police and have the police take care of it.
Okay.
Don't let the mob of people just, you know, do that.
Right. If you stop the mob,
because they'll all get implicated.
And you did not call the police, but that's right.
If you just let him go, then that might not be good, because he might just go thief again somewhere. Or he might be angry at all those people that were trying to kill him and come back. So the best thing is, just like if you find money, the best thing is to try to find whoever lost the money, you know. But if you can't find them, So better we just turn it over to the police.
Very much. Very well. Thank you for your highness for these teachings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nana. We have so many hands up. Ganesh Prabhu's hand is up. Prabhu, you want to say something or you want to ask a question, you want to contribute? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, good Maharaj. In fact, what Maharaj said yesterday, I think the same thing Guru Maharaj is saying today, that you don't allow the mob to kill the person because the person stole from you. You just have to go and report the person to the police. Because if the person is not punished for the crimes he commits, then he still have to come back and suffer for it. And you that did not take the matter to the police station or maybe for the law enforcement to deal with the person also, you are encouraging the person to go ahead to harm more people. So Maharaj did not say yesterday that you should allow them to kill the person. Say no, there are law enforcement agents. So when somebody steals your money, report the person. It should not be done by mobbing, because see, there are many people out there who are innocent, and at times people see them as thieves. So if you allow mob to be killing people, I mean, a lot of innocent people will be killed. So you have to report to the law enforcement agents. They will deal with the person. If you say you don't want to do anything about it, understand that the person can go ahead and steal more and probably go and kill people before stealing. So it is your duty for you to report to the law enforcement agent, so the person will be stopped from stealing, subsequently. So the same answer Maharaj gave yesterday is what Guru Maharaj is also given. Just that yesterday probably you didn't get his explanation well. Hare Krishna.
Right.
Thank you very much, Ganesh Prabhu, for your explanation. We have Mr. Yo Tuamasi, please. Mr. Yo.
Hello. Good evening. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Something has been bothering my mind for some time now about this life we live. I want to believe that the Supreme Being knows what will happen this evening, tomorrow, and the next. That is, he knows the future. If that is true, are we not living a life of drama, like a script which has been written and we are just actors to that script? Because if the Supreme One knows my end, whether I will be saved or I'll be condemned, that means it's a script that I am living. I just want to get clarification from this angle. Thank you.
Well, faith is the most important thing. How do we develop faith is another thing, but by practicing, by practicing what we learn from Krishna, by hearing it again and again and checking it out, the truth of it, then we will develop more and more faith and understand. It's scientific, actually. It's not just blind faith. Not just blind faith, like some people would think, but it's faith, knowledge-based faith. So we need to hear from authorities, we need to practice, and then we'll see how it works. And then we can understand more and more.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. We have a Rich. The name is Rich. Please unmute yourself and answer your question.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Please kindly accept my. Please, I'm calling from South Africa, SA. I just want to know if it's possible for one to chant the name of Krishna without being a member or a devotee.
And we're trying to get everybody in the world to chant the name of Krishna or some name of what. If they like Allah, okay, but chant it, you know. If you like Jehovah, chant it, but chant the name of God. If you don't know any other name of God, you don't have any particular attachment, then we tell you Krishna, you can try that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Everyone, you don't have to join the club, but you'll be automatically, you know, when people say, what do you have to do to join Hare Krishna? You chant Hare Krishna. But many different types of members, you know.
Yeah.
Just like in the Catholic Church, especially, they have priests, they have monks, they have bishops, they have they have ordinary people, they have nuns. So, you know, you have many different kinds of members.
Yeah.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, we have Astamo. Mr. Astamo, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna. All right. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for your lecture. Maharaj, my question is from when we had the Bhakti Sastri, you handled the nectar of instruction. There was some little question that I need some clarification on.
The sound is very.
Your network is very.
Service is spoiled. Hare Krishna.
Your network is fluctuating.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, you can continue. Yeah.
The point 5 of the text 2 of nectar of instruction, it talks about associating with worldly minded people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Maharaj, in the case of our Lord Jesus, he was asked why he's associating with sinners, people who are not godly. And then he said he actually came because of those sinners. He didn't come because of righteous people. I want to know how far can a devotee, based on the point 5, avoid associating with worldly-minded people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. So in this case, is it not contradictory to what Lord Jesus did? Also, our teacher and master, Jan Tatus Das, actually, he have to come very low to our level as karmis to be able to attract us. He have to form transformation, mingle with us. As a devotee, I want to know how far can one go, because based on my master Jan's experience, I personally think there should be no limit, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to attract some of us to Krishna consciousness. All right, that's my humble question.
Yeah, well, we want to, associate with people who are not devotees to uplift them. Of course, to live in the mature world, we may have to work with people who aren't religious, who aren't, are irreligious, who are against. So we had to do the work with them, but not get intimate with them. I've seen some of the really dynamic Christian churches. They have a saying, how many unchurched people did you talk to today? Are you just coming to the church and only talking to people that go to church, and all your friends only go to the same church? Or are you out telling people about Jesus? Are you out telling people about Krishna that don't know about Krishna? Now, if somebody's really against you, then you just avoid those people. We can't avoid, but living in the world, we have to associate, but we have to associate just for the business side of it, not to get really intimate with people and, try to do what they do, to be friends with them, go out drinking with them or something. We don't want to do that.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. We have 2 answers more. Guru Maharaj, how much time do you have with us so that we know when to, because we still have some few answers.
Yeah, well, a couple more questions are up. Let's see.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Mr. Joseph, please can answer your question.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you very much for your. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Maharaj, thank you very much for your wonderful lecture. I have 2 questions to ask. My first question is, how do I become a real devotee? And my second question is, it is written in the Bible that we are bearing the sins of our forefathers. How is that in the Krishna movement? And is it true? Can one bear the karma of the father? I hope if you get me clear. Thank you very much.
Well, to be a real devotee just means we have no interest except trying to serve, that we're striving for pure devotional service without any, jnana karma, no jnana and karma, not just trying to get knowledge, be show off, not just trying to do good work so we can enjoy the material world, but just trying to serve Krishna for the sake of serving, not expecting anything in return. And then what was the second part?
Yeah, the second part, I escaped my mind also. Let's see. What is the name? I forgot his name. Please, can you indicate by raising your hand so that you can come up? Your second question. Yes, okay. Yes, you can ask your second question.
My second question, thank you, Maharaj, for the answer of the first question. My second question says that in the Bible, or as a Christian, it is said that we bear the sins of our father.
Oh, yeah.
And I am asking, is it true? Is that in Krishna movement? And can one bear the karma of a father?
To some extent, because we're born in, we have a particular father because of our karma and his karma. So there's some intertwining there, but we have our own sins and the father has his own sins. So sometimes a very sinful father like Hiranyakasipu has a very pure and devoted child. Sometimes a pure devotee has sinful children. That's not necessarily, we suffer our own karma. And a preacher maybe take on other people's karma to some extent. In Vedic law, if your father dies a debtor, then the son is responsible for the debts. So in that way, yeah. To some extent. And if your father dies very rich and leaves you all the money, then, you know, you benefit from his karma, his hard work.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Which even though you maybe in this life didn't do anything.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
So we have 2 more answers. After this, we will let Guru Maharaj to take some rest. So Mr. Elena, Madam, please unmute yourself and ask Guru Maharaj your question.
Okay. Oh, geez. I'm not. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please, you can just.
Yes. Good afternoon, Maharaj. My question just came up when you answered someone's question. That if you find, say, if you find money, you give it to the authorities, say, or the police. I happen to be in Times Square. It's a busy place. I found $5. I didn't see police to give it to the police. And in my mind's mind, what I thought was to give it to somebody who stands by the roadside begging. Would that be okay to do that? And if it is the right thing to do, since I didn't see a policeman.
That might be better than, you know, keeping it for yourself, because of course in a crowded city and someone drops $5,
Yeah.
they don't even know they dropped it. And the chances of finding the original owner are very slight. Understand, belongs to Krishna. Best if we can use it for serving Krishna, of course. But some kind of pious activity, I guess, would be all right.
Yeah, so that we in the States here, we have people who stand by the roadside in some of our towns. So I could give it to someone like that. Would that be all right?
Yeah, there's so many people like that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Maharaj.
Of course, you know, better just give them some food or something, because if you give them money, it might go for wine and whiskey.
So drugs, yes. Okay, all right. Thanks.
You get them some warm clothes or get them, you know, some food or something.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yes, sir. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Thank you. One more hand is up, is that right?
Yes, one more Guru Maharaj, then we can allow you to take some rest, Guru Maharaj. Oh yeah, please, Mr. Frederick, you can just ask your question.
Yeah. My question is, I've asked this question before, but sometimes when I ask a question and I'm not satisfied about the answer, I still need to ask the question again. But sometimes when the answer comes, another question also comes in the answer that they give to me. So it makes me confused all the time. There was a time I asked a question, does everything happen for a reason? And our Papa Jana and the teacher that was teaching us said, yes, everything happened for a reason. Then I said, then, okay, if everything happened for a reason, then if someone killed, then which means it meant for that person to kill. That's why that person killed. So if everything happened for a reason and somebody does something wrong, then I just want to know if is it meant to happen like that way or is wrong? I just want to know. Did you get my question? Well,
right or wrong is another value judgment, but everything happens for a reason. Now, if someone is very, very advanced spiritually, Krishna may, you know, arrange things to help us advance more. But generally, we're just getting the reactions to our own karma, our own activities, and then we get the reaction. Now, we might not remember because maybe we're still getting reactions from things from previous lives. We don't remember. Or even in this life, we don't remember. We think, no, I'm a good person. Why would this happen? But you know, everything is happening in order.
So if something happened and I don't remember with my previous life, then which means I'm not offended if I'm doing something that I don't know, or if everything is happening to me. For example, maybe I did something wrong in my previous life and I didn't know that I did something wrong in my previous life. How will I correct myself in this life that I'm living? Because if someone does something wrong and we take the person to police station, we judge him, we put him in jail, then that person, for example, if the person raped or maybe he killed and they give him 5 years sentence, the person will spend 5 years in jail. When he come back from jail, that person will learn from his senses or his mistakes that he does, so that he won't kill or rape again to go to jail again. You see, physical realm, this world that we are living is like that. But we don't know what we did in our previous life. Then how are we going to correct ourselves in this kind of life that we are living now?
We're making a complicated question, but that's why, all scriptures, all religions say, move ahead spiritually, use this time that you have, this short life, for spiritual work. And then that way you get free from the previous karma. Sometimes you can get completely relieved, sometimes mostly relieved, so you get much less of a result from your karma than you normally would. So that's the idea of, that's the idea of like Jesus saves. But it's not like you just say, okay, Jesus, I love you, and now I can do whatever I want. That's very offensive. But we try to live the life like Jesus, and then it works. The same thing with surrendering to Krishna. You have to do something. You have to give up our attachments. All right. There's one question in the chat, which if someone wants to harm me, although I'm always humble and patient, what can one do? Because while the God we are serving are peaceful, but they have weapons like Shiva and Krishna. What should one do? Also fight against a person? Well, fighting is dangerous, We can get in big trouble by fighting. If someone wants, it depends on, what you're talking about. Someone wants to hurt you. How do they want to hurt you? What are they doing? Why? If it's possible to negotiate with them, or possible just to avoid them. If they're really threatening you all the time, then there must be some way we can get help from the government, from the police or something, if they're actually really threatening and really dangerous. If they're just thinking about it, then they're going to suffer for that. Okay, so I have to go. Thank you all very much. So,
thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. We really appreciate your time, and we'll let everybody please unmute yourself and chant one Hare Krishna mantra. And for those who still want to wait behind, Ganesh actually will be available for you to answer more of your questions. Let's chant Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Please, you can answer the questions. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, problem here.
Yeah, please, you can just throw more light on those other people who wants to.
I guess, I'm not so qualified to answer, but I think Guru Maharaj will permit me to just explain it from the Christian point of view. And, when you say nothing happened by chance, everything happened for a reason, you shouldn't forget that to every action, there is opposite and equal reaction. So what it means is, when you go to the market and you see mango fruits, it means that some few months ago, somebody planted a mango seed. There's nothing like